And Artie Lang joining us now. How you been, Artie?
Dan Patrick with the whiff.
How are you?
I've been good lately. Stuff's all right now.
But you're feeling good?
Yeah, I do. I feel great. I feel like a new person, which I definitely needed some repairs for a long time. But I feel fantastic.
At what point did you say, I think I'm now ready to get on with my life or do something, get back into radio? Was there a moment where you said, all right, I feel pretty good now?
Yeah, I was sitting there and the remote wasn't next to me and I had a pizza on my chest and I was looking at the Real Housewives of Orange County or something, and I was too lazy to get the remote to change the channel, and I knew that I needed a change in life. Basically, I just had gotten to a point where it's either change my life or just move to Alaska and become a farmer of some sort. I don't know, and I wanted to get back into radio, and I feel that radio has always been good to me, and I love it so much, and a chance to maybe do some sports with Nick, to mine. We'll see what happens.
But you, after what you did with Howard and his team there, now you do something sports related. How difficult will that be, that transition of being Artie Lang comedian to Artie Lang sports show host comedian?
I don't know. I've never been good with transitions on any level, so I don't know. I think it'll be smooth because I've always liked sports, and I've always liked at least trying to be funny about sports. And it'll be great to just explore talking about, stuff like John Facenda and John Sterling and, what Mickey Rivers hit in 1976. I just can't get enough of that. Like there's classic rock, this would be classic sports. I don't think it'll be a hard transition at all because a lot of my stand-up was about sports. So, I think it'll be easy.
But you, sometimes you don't want to do what's your hobby, what you love, if that makes sense to you, that you don't want to do it all the time. Are you worried that you'll be doing sports all the time, that it might diminish your love of sports?
Well, that's interesting. When I stopped gambling, I realized I wasn't as big a sports fan as I thought. I remember, in the old days, sitting at the sports book at the Mirage, where literally you could bet on two kids playing wiffle ball in Minnesota. You could just bet on everything. And I realized I had a problem when, at 4 a.m. you're asking people, did you see a Rice-Baylor lacrosse score? Did you get that?
What is the biggest bet you ever laid down?
The biggest bet I ever on a sporting event?
Yeah.
I had on the first Tyson Holyfield fight, I had $25,000 down on that, and I lost. I bet on Tyson. That was bad. That was bad because the odds weren't with me. I ended up losing like $75,000.
Yeah, because people will say, well, how much have you lost? And you tell them how much you've lost, but it depends on how much you make, too.
Right.
Yeah, so you could, if you lose 75 and you're making 100, then that's a pretty big loss there.
Yeah, what good with me with gambling was, as I started to make more money in life, I wasn't willing to go that next route. I had a bigger gambling problem when I had $500 to my name on a Tuesday night to make stuff exciting. I would put $1,000 on a college basketball game, and let me tell you something. That's an instant New Year's Eve right there. You watch that game very closely, and nothing's boring when you got double your net worth on it. But losing $75,000 on a boxing match is just. That's not a good day. That's not a good day.
He's Artie Lang, a former member of Howard Stern's show, and looks like setting out to do some sport. Have you agreed to do sports talk radio?
Well, there's no deal in place. I'm talking with some very nice people. Nick and I, they gave Nick and I a chance to do a test show together, I think. And
is it radio and TV?
I don't know. I think that they would love that to be the case eventually. I think it would start off as just radio, and then I'd have to do a bunch of sit-ups before we could get into any television. I want to be TV ready, Dan. You know me.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, I like to look good on TV.
Okay, who's your first sports talk show guest?
I want to interview the kid who played Ahmad in the first Bad News Bears. I want to see what he's doing. And I told them that, and they obviously that would be blockbuster ratings. But I want to interview Tanner, all the guys from the first Bad News Bears. I want to see what they're doing. That's honestly what I want to do.
When I would listen to the Stern Show, I could always tell Howard not a big sports fan, but you would always fill in the blanks. Robin would always try to say something, and then you'd always have to correct her. Or Baba Booey would come in, and you guys would talk sports. How tough was it, though? You were the sports guy on the Howard Stern Show.
It wasn't tough because like Howard can make anything interesting. That's just the talent he has, and he would always put his slant on sports. And if there were any details that needed to be filled in, I would try to do that. So it was just always fun. I remember, if we interviewed a sports figure, he would put the Howard Stern interview on a guy like, Johnny Damon or something would come on and talk about Gary's first pitch at the Met game or something, and Howard would make it an interesting interview that you never heard before because, people are busy asking Johnny Damon about mundane stuff that you've heard 2 million times. So I always had fun with sports, and I would always talk about my gambling on the show, and for years it was a big running joke because I would always bet against Tiger Woods. I would bet the whole field, and I happened to do that during his run where he won eight majors in a row. And the show was about honesty, and I'd be honest, and it was fun to talk about. It wasn't hard to talk about sports on the show. It wasn't hard to talk about anything on the show. What
do you miss most about the Stern Show?
Just having fun on the air. I miss it more than anything in the world. It was just so much fun to hang out with those guys. You forgot that you were on radio sometimes. There'd be times we'd be laughing so hard that we'd almost start crying at stuff. And, who gets that at work? And I did that for 9 years, and, I blew it because of my lifestyle. But my biggest regret is that I didn't take the steps that made me get better, 10, 20 years ago. But you can't look back. You got to look forward. That show was just a blast. The only part of it that remotely felt like work was getting up early. You got to get up like you had a paper route, but the rest was just fun. Any chance that you would go back? I would love to. I would do any. If Howard wanted me to, I would vacuum the studio. I would do anything they wanted. But, I put them in a very, very crazy position, and I understand their apprehensions. I just get it, And Howard's a smart guy, and I think when he feels the time is right, maybe I'll go on there. But I would do it in a heartbeat. Obviously, I miss it, but. It's up to them, and I understand their position completely. They're smart over there. They know what they're doing radio-wise, Have you reached out to them, or they reached out to you? We've talked. Both has happened. Howard called me a bunch of times when I was going through the hardest parts of my ordeal, and was always really nice. And he called me when I was in a psych ward once, which was there was a kid in there that was a crystal meth addict, and he was a big Stern Show fan. And he happened to answer the phone when Howard called, and he came up to my room and he goes, "Artie, Howard's on the phone. Howard's on the phone." I'm sitting there talking to Howard Stern in a psych ward, and I said, "Well, my life has taken a few bad turns, I guess." Well, you're live to tell it, Artie. Yeah, there's a lot of guys in comedy that were good friends of mine who I don't know if you heard. Well, you know a guy named Greg Giraldo.
Yeah,
died recently. I was friendly with him, and that was an eye opener when he went. He was just an amazing talent, and I decided I want to stick around for a while, and that's a good feeling.
Well, hopefully any help that I or we can give you with making it happen with you and Nick doing a sports show, stay in touch.
Thanks, Dan. I'll be calling you later then. I'll call you every day at home if that's all right.
It's okay. It's fine. And maybe we could go to a Yankee game.
I got a question for you. How does it make you feel that you invented this type of performer on ESPN, and now everybody just does like a Dan Patrick impression? I mean, every single guy they have on SportsCenter now tries to do what you sort of originated. Does that aggravate you at all?
You know what? I like it when it's done correctly.
Right.
It's when everybody thinks that's how you become successful. If you have a catchphrase and you can say the whiff or en fuego. That we did that to entertain ourselves.
Right.
It's sort of like, in a bigger picture, Howard Stern looking at every morning show that is trying to emulate him. He has to look at it and go, come on, guys. But there are guys who do it right, do it correctly, who are entertaining.
Right.
Sort of how I view it in a watered-down version, lesser version.
Yeah, it aggravates me when I watch it. I get mad for you. I don't know. I wanted to see how you felt about that because you are the inventor of that, my friend. And
yeah,
you know that.
There's credit and blame that goes with that, though, Artie. Hey, good luck with things, and great to hear from you. Love hearing the voice again and the laughter. Thank you, Artie.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the time, man.
All right, Artie Lang. Former member Howard Stowe Morning Show. You know what? We'll come back.